It's time now for Call of the Wild, the official weekly coaches show of the Wenatchee Wild. Stay up to date with your team all season long with Call of the Wild. With head coach and GM Bliss Littler, here's the voice of your Wenatchee Wild, Arch Ecker.
Hello and welcome to Call of the Wild, your weekly Wenatchee Wild coaches show. I'm Arch Ecker alongside head coach and general manager Bliss Littler. Coach, last week, an interesting week. Not often that you have a game on the road and then a day off and come back home. It was an interesting paradigm, but we started off against a tough division rival Thursday night in Langley, first visit there of the season. We knew that they were going to be buzzing because after the opening night game here, in which we outlasted them in a 7-5 win. Let's talk about that game a little bit. Was it what you expected?
Well, I thought we played pretty well. We made a couple mistakes, and they capitalized on them. But definitely the first two periods, they really came at us, and we knew it was going to be physical. But I was real proud of our guys. I thought we handled that very well, and it was a very good hockey game. I mean, you have two good hockey teams playing. They're a huge rival of ours. Their goaltender played exceptionally well, and it was a good hockey game. So overall, going into a tough environment on the road, overall, I was pretty happy with our effort.
It comes back to finding ways to score goals. When the pretty ones don't come, you got to bear down, get your nose dirty in the tough areas. The first goal of the game was a power play goal, but it was Troy Conzo grabbing his snow shovel and basically hard work, and that's the kind of play you get from a guy like him.
Well, 3-year veteran that he's learned to be consistent. That not every goal is going to be a real pretty goal. That sometimes you got to get your nose over the puck, and you got to take a bump and a little bit of a beating now and then when you get to the front of the net. Those hard to get to areas. You get in there and you're going to take a little bit of a beating, and he did that. Paid the price to get us on the scoreboard.
You can talk about leading by example, which the veterans, you expect them to do that. And sometimes there's it can be contagious. And the term monkey see, monkey do comes to mind. But the next goal, you got Lucas Sauter, who basically mimics almost the same kind of thing. You had Brian Williams made a nice play to get the puck to the net, and Sauter just wasn't going to be denied. It took him a couple of whacks to shove it home.
Again, Sauter's a hard-nosed kid. It's only a matter of time until he's a household name here in Wenatchee and throughout the league. The kid has tireless work ethic, good skills, and again, he's another one he's not afraid to go to the dirty areas.
Yeah, Sauter's celebrating a birthday this week on Tuesday, and he's one of the young and up-and-coming breed in the Wenatchee Wild family, and this team is so heavily laden with veterans and older guys, but the future bodes very well with guys like Sauter, Morton, and Weatherby. I know we've talked about them before, but it's always worth a mention to talk about what those guys bring.
For sure that I have a feeling that Morton will slide right into that position that Brendan Harris has had on the power play the last 4 years. I think he'll slide right into that position, and he's going to be somebody that he's going to make noise here next year, and he's going to make a lot of noise at some point in college hockey. Weatherby, same thing. He's a big kid that has good skill, that has the knack for scoring goals. He's probably the one player that probably finishes the majority of his hits. Big kid, skates well, finishes bumps, scores goal. Sounds like a lot of ingredients to be a pro.
Absolutely. Moving on with the Langley game, AJ Vanderbeek, we've talked before about him and the way he scores goals. A lot of times he loves to come off the wall, finds a lane, rips it, right? This particular time, comes home, swats home a rebound. Not your typical Vanderbeek goal, but when you got a guy who's got 15 on the year now, when you got a guy that puts 15 in the back of the net, he finds ways to do it at opportune times and clutch times. And this was a very clutch time in that game. Troy Conzo had done a nice job setting it up with his rush, but Vanderbeek pouncing on it.
Well, he's a goal scorer. and you're right that the majority of his goals, they have a signature to them, and it's off the wall, quick wrist shot, and just beats the goaltender. And but generally, goal scorers, they have a few ways of scoring goals, and it was nice to see him getting one of those again, a little bit of a dirty area.
And we talk about hockey. Sometimes it's a game of bounces. Football's a game of inches. Hockey can be a game of bounces. There was maybe a bit of a fortuitous hop that sort of helped Langley get a goal late in the first period. And then when you talk about good bounces, well, we got a real friendly one. Brendan Harris did a nice job. He enters the zone, cuts off to the right like we watch him do 10,000 times every year. Fires it at the net, bounces off the goalie, hits their defenseman in the arm, and caroms into the net. And it was almost as if you could just sense that things were just kind of evening out. And oftentimes I think coaches say that, if you wait long enough, things do even out.
Well, that's saying the harder your work, the luckier you get. And again, we felt that we had the better of the chances most of the evening, but it's even hockey game, and we're fortunate to get that bounce. And again, I think you get those bounces when you work hard.
Absolutely. And then once again, in net, Anthony Yamnitsky challenged a couple of times. He had to make some big-time saves on the back door and moving from one side to the other. The first goal, he got victimized on that a little bit as he was sliding across, left the legs open a little bit. It was a great play by Langley, no question. But there was some times where, again, the same type of play, moving from left to right, and he did a fantastic job, got over quickly, and was in perfect position to make some highlight saves.
No doubt, he had a handful of saves that they're really game savers. That we feel that he's starting to mature in the net and starting to feel more comfortable. And bottom line, he's starting to make more saves. He's playing better hockey.
Of course, Dakota Raby would add the empty net goal down the stretch to kind of put the finishing touches on it. But fans can take a look at the sheets and they'll see that you've consistently, over the last several games, you've been putting up 50-plus shots every night. The last time you were under 50 shots was 48 shots, and that was against a tough Penticton team here at home. But the difference between shots and chances, tell me how do the quality chances compare to the number of shots you're getting?
Well, sometimes you're shooting the puck maybe from a bad angle, coming down on a rush that you're not expecting to score from the top of the circle 2 feet from the wall. But you're putting the puck on the net to hopefully create a rebound for one or two guys that are driving the net. So when the puck, a lot of times when you're throwing at the net, you're throwing at the goalie's pads. You don't want to throw it at his glove or his block or where the puck goes to the side, but you try to get on his pads where he has a tough time controlling a rebound. And so it'd still be a shot because it could go in. But getting the rebound, that would be like the grade A chance. And we wouldn't call the shot on net from top of the circle out by the wall. We wouldn't consider that a chance. But if there's the rebound in front with a guy going to the net, we'd consider that a chance. So.
By the same token, you get a 2-on-1 break, and maybe it's defensed properly, or the shot's fired and it gets deflected away by the defenseman. I mean, does that still count as a chance?
We don't count it as a chance in what is what we call a chance for or a chance against, but we do put it down as a coaching clip, and so we do show that. But and it would count as a block shot. But again, what we define a chance is an actual scoring chance, and the scoring chance has to actually get to the goaltender with inside the house, or from the point with a guy in front. It's just for the analytics that we do. You have to give the computer, you have to give it some sort of parameters, and that's the parameters that we choose to give it.
2 nights later, back on home ice, a building that's been very friendly to you throughout the season. You bring an 8-0 record into that game against Trail. Before the puck even drops, you had the flag ceremony, and both teams and the officials and everybody gathered around. Talk about the emotions as you watched that happen on your ice.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty neat. That Chris Clark called their coach and asked him. He said, "Hey, we're going to have a flag, one of those giant flags, and this is what we're going to do, and just giving you heads up so you can tell your guys to go off this side, so it doesn't bother them." And their coach said, hey, if you want, we'd participate if you want us to. And I thought that was a tremendous gesture on their part to be part of our pregame ceremony, and with the flag, and with most of their kids being Canadian, but still coming out with the American flag. I just thought it was a great gesture on their part, and it won't be forgotten. I know that.
Well, it won't be forgotten by Wild Nation, because I know the fans thought it was absolutely fantastic. And from where I was sitting up there in the executive suite where I lived on game nights, it was really something very special, and it was great to watch. Then the puck drops, and of course all the handshakes and hugs go away, and it's time to play some hockey. Now, we knew coming into this game that the top 4 scorers in the BCHL were all on the ice. Harris and Combs and Santurno and Howarth for those two guys, those two guys from Trail. And it was Trail that got on the board first, and it was a kind of a pretty play on the power play, some crisp passing that allowed them to take the lead.
Yeah, no doubt. They came down and they tic-tac-toed it. Nice play. That you give them credit. I thought from there on out we made the adjustment on the penalty kill, and I don't think they had much, but they came out. They're prepared, and they made 3 quick passes, and they got the puck to the right guy, and he did what he's done most of the year with it. So
he put it away.
Yeah, but we did a nice job adjusting to that the rest of the time when we were on the penalty kill.
I think that most folks have already recognized the pattern, but it seems that your teams in the intermissions adjust extremely well, because it's time and time again throughout the season. They come out to start the second or third periods, and they come out on fire. A lot of times they're scoring goals within the first shift, maybe in the first minute, maybe in the first 2 minutes. I actually scored a couple of goals in the first 2 minutes to retake the lead on Saturday night. So what is it? What's the magic, or do you know?
No, if I
put it in a bottle?
Yeah, I knew they'd put that in a bottle, and we'd head to Walmart and start selling it. I think Friday night or Saturday night, we played well in the first period. I think we outshot them 21-5, and I don't know that they had, besides the goal they scored, I don't know if they had a quality chance other than that one. Just one of those things. It's hockey that you can't. There's no way you could fault our goaltender on that one. It's a great play, and their goaltender made some great saves, and they blocked some good shots. But we came out, and again, I think we have a lot of depth. We came out and made a couple of plays right away, and I don't want to say turn the momentum, because I think even though we're losing, I think the momentum was on our side, because we were carrying most of the play. But it's definitely nice to tie it up and then get a lead, and we've been pretty good playing with the lead.
If you remember the first goal, it was right off the opening face-off, and down the left wing, Dakota Raby did an outstanding job controlling the puck, battling through a check, working his way back around behind the net, and then slides it out front for Baker. And I know we've talked about both of those guys, but really I thought it was the work of Raby that really stood out to me on that play.
For sure. It was just the quickness, the speed that he has, and also the strength that he's added the last couple of years. That 2 years ago he wouldn't have had the strength to make that play. He had the skill to do it, but he wouldn't have the strength. And now he's got the strength, and I think it's one of the reasons that he's going to Michigan is that his body's gotten bigger and stronger, and he's always had the good head for the game and the skill for the game, the quickness for the game. But now he's also got strength to go with that.
The go-ahead goal, and what eventually proved to be the game-winning goal, you got Konzo and Vanderbeck blasting down. They're as dangerous a combo as any. I know you got a few of them out there. But, and it's interesting because you got two guys, and both of them have the ability to bury that puck. Mm-hmm. Konzo makes the decision to fire it to Vanderbeck, and that was more of his style of goal, right?
Yeah, that's his signature. I mean, it's quick shot and a bullet on net, and that's the kind of goal that we're accustomed to seeing AJ score. And nice unselfish play by Troy, and it turned out to be the game winner.
Charlie Combs had scored goals in 5 games straight. He ran into a brick wall there in Langley, and his streak ended. But he came back out on Saturday. And it's interesting because another one, we talked about some of his laser shots where he picks corners and goes high. A new one that sort of seems to be emerging is that low blocker side right along the ice. He'll come walking out of the corner and do it. This one, not necessarily out of the corner, but he finds that low zone. And I guess goalies don't know what to do with him.
Well, yeah, because they have to protect the strong side. They have to protect that because he's so strong when he drives the net. So you got to protect that, and if he can, if the defense don't come right at him and they give him any room to cut to get a little more depth in front of the net, then that opens up the far side, and at that point, it's a very difficult save.
Then Brian Williams got hot. He pumps in a couple. Now the first of them, Brendan Harris does his usual magic tricks, dancing through a couple of guys, sets up Williams. Now Williams is a guy, often he's in a support role for the most part. Every now and then he gets into the spotlight, and on that particular play, what was really neat about it was the way he didn't even really shoot it as much as he kind of guided it.
Yeah.
And those kind of soft hands, they definitely bode well for a guy that's looking forward to a collegiate career.
Yeah, Willie's going to have a real good college career. That he's very good in all three zones. He's got a good set of hands on him. He's got the ability to finish, so he can easily play a top six role in college hockey. And he's very happy kind of being the unsung hero on that line with Harris and Combs. And but you're right, he's more than capable to fill the net up.
Last week we talked about how you choose to fill that fourth, for lack of a better term, fourth line, but the one that only has two forwards, and you have to rotate somebody through. And maybe you sensed at that time, or maybe he was already on the list, but Williams with the hot hand, he comes right back out on the next shift, and he's got Weatherby and Morton with him working down low, and Weatherby does a nice job, digs the puck off the end boards and slings it out front, and then Williams gets a gift again. But and Weatherby and Williams, you just put the pieces and you move them around, and they just all seem to weave well together.
Well, again, we're very fortunate that we have a lot of kids that can make plays, and we have a lot of unselfish kids on the ice. That when you have unselfish hockey players, it makes it pretty easy as a coach that you can mix and match, and a lot of times the combinations work.
And, of course, you get the empty net goal there at the end, with a 4-goal deficit. Were you surprised to see him pull the goaltender and go for the extra skater?
I think coach was over there was just trying to make a point to his team that, hey, we're not throwing in the towel. That, we can do this. And I think he's just trying to show his team that he believes in them. And I always think that's a pretty good idea, to show your team that you believe them, that we can do this, even though it is kind of a Hail Mary at the end.
Well, Wenatchee Wild ended up with a 6-1 victory over Trail on Saturday night. They improved to 9-0-0 at home, 17-2-1 on the season. Still the number one record win percentage-wise across the BCHL. Now it's on the road, and we'll talk about the upcoming road swing through Canada in just a couple of moments. Back in 3 minutes here on your Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network. And welcome back to Call of the Wild. It's your weekly Wenatchee Wild coaches show. Arch Ecker alongside head coach and GM Bliss Littler. Coach, this week it's back on the road. We got 4 games this week in 5 days. That's always tough, even for as conditioned as your athletes are. And I know that you're very focused. You've got a great workout program with your trainer, with Drew Plate. And with our partnership with Gold's Gym, the guys are working consistently to stay in peak physical condition. I don't care who you are, 4 days on the road, it takes a toll on you.
Yeah, it's tough. That's
the grind part.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm in the minority, but I feel that we should reduce 2 home games and 2 road games, and I think it'd be better for development. It's a development league. With that, when you have 4 games, we got a workout in on Monday. Next week we play 3 games. We won't get a workout in. It's too many games that way. That I think the off-ice workouts are the things that suffer. And because we have to be done, you have to work backwards with the Royal Bank Cup to the Western Canadians, to the BCHL playoffs. It takes a while to get through. 4 provinces there. It takes its time. So not having the month of March to play regular season games. You have to play some 3 and some 4 game weeks, and you just hope that you don't have any injuries, and it makes it tough. So we really rely on Aaron over at the gym, our strength coach, and Drew has to do a great job working with Clarkie to make sure that we're doing a good job with treatment, with the cold tubs, with the meals, having snacks, just everything we can do to stay as healthy as we can be, and doing a great job in the hotel rooms, getting our rest, and everything that we're doing. We talk about hydrate, treatment, fuel, and rest. Those are the 4 most important things that really from here to the holiday break, we have so much hockey that we really need to take care of our bodies and try to keep our minds as fresh as we can be.
One area where the Wild franchise is very fortunate is because the ownership understands the importance of feeding the machine and keeping the players properly fed. So many times, and we've been both in junior hockey a long time, and we spend so much effort on training these athletes and giving them every advantage, and then at the end of the game we shove pizza in them. And the Whites have recognized that that's not really the best way to go, and so they go the extra mile to help make sure that the athletes are fed properly post-game. Yeah, and that's huge. I mean, that regeneration process, you can't underestimate it.
No, it's, again, I know we have the best ownership in junior hockey, regardless of league, regardless of country. The ownership we have here is truly amazing, and the players don't get shortchanged here. That everything we do is to give the players the best opportunity to have success on the ice, which allows them to have success in their career and move on to bigger and better things.
Well, we're going to start off. It's Wednesday night in Chilliwack. Last time we were there, the Wild jumped out to a quick 4-0 lead. Kind of had to hold off and stem a little bit of a comeback from the Chiefs, but skated out of there with that 4-3 win, a tough divisional game. And the Chiefs, they're somehow, despite all of the success that the Wild have had, Chiefs are right breathing down our neck, and I know that they're looking at this opportunity on Wednesday to gain some ground.
For sure they are. That again, as much as the rivalry we have with Langley, the Chilliwack one has gone more back and forth with. It's probably closer to even with the number of wins. It might even be even. I'm not sure. That I know in the regular season a year ago, we won that series, and then they beat us in the series that counted and to win the division in the playoffs. But I think it's very close, and so we have a ton of respect for that organization, and Jason does a great job coaching there. And but again, they're probably our fiercest rival as far as they get up to play us, we get up to play them, and again, throw your records out the window. And again, we know that we have the top 2 teams in the division, so I'm guessing we're going to have a heck of a hockey game on Wednesday night.
They talk about some buildings being a, quote, hostile environment. It seems to me that in Chilliwack that would be a really fun place to play. I like the energy there.
Yeah, I think it's very similar to playing here. I think teams like going to Chilliwack as far as you're in a good building, the locker room, everything there, that you're treated very professionally. Then you get on the ice, and they generally have good crowds there, and again, it's a good atmosphere to play in. And I think it's similar to here with the nice building and the good setup, and I think with our fan situation that it's definitely 2 of the best places to play in the league.
Move on to the weekend. We get Thursday off, and we'll travel and head further towards the interior, and we'll get a steady diet of interior teams over the weekend. We'll start off with Merritt, who we've already seen once, had some success against.
Well, again, Merritt's a team that's they've struggled a bit their last few weeks. They've definitely made some changes with personnel, so not exactly sure what we're going to get, but we're going into I believe it's probably the smallest building in the league. It's a tough building to play in. They've had a lot of success there. So we're definitely going to have our work cut out, and I'm sure that they have a pretty good memory that from being here a few weeks ago that they'll want to play better than what they did here and try return the favor.
We'll get our first look at the defending Royal Bank Cup champions and the West Kelowna Warriors, falling a little bit on hard times after feasting off the cup at the end of last year, but they're certainly still a team that's going to come out with a lot of pride, especially at home.
Well, for sure, you're dealing with one of the best organizations in the league. And if you look, they're in every game. They're playing better hockey, and again, I believe they got us both times a year ago, where they gave us our first loss, I think a year ago, and then they came in here, I believe it's Thanksgiving, and they kind of stole one at the end that still doesn't sit very well with me. So again, I know we're excited to get up there, and again, it's a good environment, another good building to play in, and again, for us, it's continue to get better, to work the process and keep getting better and playing another good hockey team.
Then to cap the weekend, we'll head into Salmon Arm. You know, some teams play at home in a little differently than they play on the road. Will that be the case, or have you found that to be the case with Salmon Arm based on your visit there last year?
We had a great game early October last year. I think we beat them in overtime. I'm fairly certain we did. Again, they just had a coaching change with, you always feel horrible when somebody loses their job. And you know, immediately they go out, and I think they won both games last weekend, and they brought back their assistant coach from a year ago. They brought him back in. He'll be, I guess they gave him the reins for the rest of the year, and I think they're a much improved team since they left here. I looked at their roster yesterday, and now they have 6 Western Hockey League kids on their roster, which is in my opinion, you don't see that very often. That the kids here in this league are generally looking to play college hockey, and so for one reason or another, they've bolstered their team with 6 Western Hockey League kids.
And just quickly, for people that don't quite understand the difference, if a kid's played in the Western Hockey League, how does that affect his college eligibility?
He's ineligible to play Division I college hockey in the United States, and
Is he ineligible to receive a scholarship, or ineligible, period, can't play?
He can't play. He can't play Division I hockey. Scholarship, no scholarship. He's just not eligible to play NCAA Division I hockey. But they're good hockey players. They're the same age as our guys, and for one reason or another, they chose a different path. And that path, in this league, the path didn't work out the way they wanted it to. Doesn't mean they're not going to be good hockey players in this league. Most of the time, they're a little bit older, experienced, and they come in and they're very effective.
Well, it'll be a good litmus test to see where your team stands, because it's a tough weekend, a lot of travel, and then on Sunday you cap it off against that Salmon Arm team with a quick turnaround, having played the night before, and it's a 3 o'clock face-off in Salmon Arm on Sunday. So I guess this is where the rubber hits the road a little bit, right? Literally.
Yeah, it's I think our kids are excited. You don't get to play 4 games very often. We know that it'll be it's going to be a grind, that's for sure. And as long as you check in and you're willing to grind it out, good things can happen. But you need to take care of Wednesday on Wednesday and not worry about Sunday until Sunday.
Exactly. One last thing, the CGHL weekly top 20 rankings came out, and the Wild have bumped up to number 4 at this point. How much attention do you as a coaching staff and do your players pay to that particular ranking?
As a coaching staff, not very much, because I think most of us recognize that if you took the top 10 BCHL teams, that most feel that those are probably your best teams in the country. But I think most of that is probably computer generated, I would think, and it's based more on record than on actually strength of your team. I haven't seen those other teams play, so probably that might not be a fair statement. But when you look at the number of college commitments, and basically the more college commitments you have, the better your team generally is. And I don't think anybody disputes the strength of the BCHL. But the rankings are fun to talk about, but the nice thing is at the end of the day you get to decide things on the ice.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be doing plenty of that over the next several days as we head off on a 4-game road swing through southern British Columbia. It's going to wrap it up for this week's edition of Call of the Wild. We'll see you next time. I'm Arch Ecker. This is Bliss Littler with the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network.
You've been listening to Call of the Wild, the official weekly coaches show of the Wenatchee Wild, a presentation of the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network.